What's up, you guys? It's your girl who's here every week. So today is going to be very different than what I normally post. Actually, I don't really have a normal post on this channel. I just kind of post whatever I want. But today we are going to be talking about love affairs that turned into murder. I have two stories prepared for y'all today, but before we get into all of that, I want to talk about something real fast. I did get this idea completely from Lizbug here on YouTube. This is 100% her idea. I'm not taking any of the credit. I'm just changing the name, and I'm not going to be using any of the stories that she uses in her videos. I'll leave in the description below, you know, a playlist to hers or something like that, where she talks. Hers is called Twisted Love Tuesdays, but I want to call mine something different. That is all. Now, let's get into the stories. So I actually have two stories for y'all today. So the first story is the murder of Gaston Comet. Comet, I don't know. It's right here. There was a man, and his name was Joseph Coex, and he was a French socialite and a career politician, a notorious Casanova. And basically what had happened is he was having an affair with this woman named Henriette. So this Joseph guy ends up dumping his then wife for this Henriette girl. He was swoon in love with her. He was smitten with love. Before he dumped his wife, he actually became prime minister. So Joseph was not a friendly guy. He was a pro-German guy. He was just not on the good side, and he had a lot of enemies. One of his enemies was named Gaston Comet. So Gaston, whatever, he was an editor of Le Figaro, and that was actually one of Joseph's biggest critics. So this Gaston guy planned to kill Joseph's reputation. He wanted him to not be someone to look up to, because back then Joseph was the kind of guy where you could just look up to him, and he was this awesome guy. He was successful and powerful, and he had this beautiful wife and, you know, his mistress, Henriette. So he was just this very powerful guy, and Gaston did not like that at all. So Gaston planned on making Joseph's career go. In 1914, Gaston decided to publish a love letter that Joseph had sent to his first mistress, Berthe. Since Joseph's life was just out there on the line, and everyone knew about this love letter and this affair and all this drama, Henriette decided to take this into her own hands. On March 16th, 1914, Henriette entered Gaston's office with a scarf that was concealing both her hands. She walked inside. She asked to see Gaston. Henriette ended up having a Browning automatic in her hand that was wrapped up in the scarf, and she shot Gaston 6 times in the stomach. When the police officers showed up, she was like, "Don't touch me, I'm a lady." When they went to trial, she used the excuse, "Oh, I'm a woman, my emotions are more powerful than yours, you wouldn't ever understand, I'm a woman, blah blah blah." And that was pretty much her excuse, and she got away with it. These men, it was a full jury, whatever, of men, and they went with it. She was found not guilty, and she actually went on to study art and write a book. And she finally died in 1943. The second murder that I want to talk about is titled The King of the Bootleggers. So this story is about this guy named George Remus. He was a pharmacist at first, then he changed and he became a lawyer, and then he decided it was time for another career change. Using his pharmacist license, he bought whiskey and, you know, other kinds of alcoholic beverages when they were not allowed for medicinal purposes. After that, he started a multi-million-dollar bootlegging company. After he became, a millionaire, he built himself a mansion, and it had a swimming pool, a horse stable, a baseball field. Like, he was on the top. Apparently, he even threw lavish parties where he would give people these, real diamond encrusted? Yeah. These diamond watches as party favors. What? And he also gave away cards. Like all these stories are going to be, George found love. He had his eye on this woman, and her name was Imogen Holmes. I'm just gonna call her Holmes. Just like the first story we talked about today, he ended up divorcing his first wife to be with Holmes. This is kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde situation. Except they weren't stealing things, but they were still making lots of money, and they were on the run. They were everywhere. They were just relationship goals, right? Just like every other good thing, it has to come to an end. And George was arrested in 1924. He gave Holmes the power over his business, and apparently that was his first mistake. And his second was he actually told one of his inmates that Holmes was in charge of his business at the moment, and all of his money. And why, you might ask, that might be his second mistake? Well, because this guy that he told, his inmate, was actually an undercover FBI agent. To make the story even crazier, when his inmate got out of jail, he actually hooked up with Holmes. What? So then the two, the inmate, which has a name, what's his name? Frank, the inmate, and Holmes, the wife, took all the money. They sold the entire operation, and they took all the money. So, pretty obviously, George was not happy with this at all. So, obviously, he ended up coming out of jail, and that's when Holmes, the wife, decided to file for a divorce, which was her, millionth mistake. And her 1,000,001 mistake, ow, that hurt, was that she actually tried to get him deported. Oh, woman, you do not make the best choices. On October 6, 1927, the day their divorce papers were final, Holmes left the courthouse. She got into a taxi. George actually was following her, and he actually ordered his driver to drive Holmes's taxi cab, the wife, her taxi cab, off of the road. Her car went crashing into a nearby park. She did survive from the wreckage, but as she was climbing out of her car, George got out a gun and put it in her gut and fired. It gets crazier. It doesn't stop there. George, when he goes to trial, actually claims that he was temporarily insane, and the jury bought it. And he was found not guilty. But because he did claim that he was insane, he was shipped off to a mental institution for 6 months. But like all things, karma has its way around. When he got out of the mental institution, he spent the rest of his life trying to, regain all this money and all this power and, blah, 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 blah. But he actually died a poor man. But it gets even more twisted because he still believed that he was in the right for killing his wife. So that is actually all that I have for y'all today. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and a comment and whatever else. Okay. Bye, guys.
Look at him. He looks like a little nutsack.
Please don't call me that.